And it is great to be with so many friends here today from the National Rifle Association. This organization is sometimes called a single-issue group, and that is high praise when the single issue you're fighting for is freedom.
Okay, that was Mitt Romney talking today at the National Rifle Association conference in St. Louis. Quite a change in statement from what he had said previously, that he didn't line up with the NRA. We got to Jerry Seib now with the Wall Street Journal in Washington, D.C. Jerry, is this a shocking turnaround, or is this what one expects from a presidential candidate, a probable presidential candidate?
No, it's not a shocking turnaround. The turnaround Mitt Romney made on gun policy happened back when he was finishing his term as governor of Massachusetts, and he went from being a skeptic about some gun issues to an NRA supporter. It's a problematic issue for him because he had at one point in his career in the 90s supported a federal ban on assault weapons, had favored background checks for gun purchases, and earlier in his term as governor raised the permits for buying guns in Massachusetts by a considerable amount. But what you have today was Mitt Romney talking to a core GOP audience right after he sewed up essentially the Republican nomination. What was interesting about the speech, though, Simon, was that he didn't talk much about gun issues, about Second Amendment issues. He put support for gun rights in a much broader context than the clip you just played kind of showed it. He said basically Barack Obama is not just for limiting gun rights, he's for limiting personal liberties across the board. He's for limiting freedom, and you can throw in there religious liberty and an individual mandate on health care and all sorts of things. That's the template that the Romney campaign is going to want people to see this through, which is to say the Obama administration is for government power infringing on your liberties. The gun message happens to fit right into that.
Now, that's clear that that's going to appeal to the core Republican base. How is that going to go with your independent, your swing voter?
Well, I think the gun message doesn't probably affect the swing voter all that much. People are split. If you take swing voters, I think you'd probably have some pro-gun rights people and some pro-gun control people in the swing camp. So I think it's a mixed message to that group. I think that the hope of the Romney campaign, at least, is that this broader message that we want to protect your liberty from government intrusion on all fronts might have some greater appeal. It's one of the reasons why this fight over the contraception rule imposed on Catholic institutions is something that the Romney campaign thinks might work in the middle of the electorate. I don't think the gun message itself is, and on that front, I think this was much more Mitt Romney going to a Republican base audience and trying to shore up his strength there on the gun issue per se.
Now, he also had his wife, Ann Romney, there, and she made a few remarks before he did. She's seen as critical to his campaigning, right?
I think so, yeah, and what you heard and the conversation she had with some people at the NRA was closed to the press, so you don't know, but you hear she got a very good reception. She's very important because, one of the problems, that maybe the problem the Romney campaign has, is his low standing with women, which is offset somewhat by the fact that he does better with men than does Barack Obama, but not enough. So he's got a gender gap problem, and Romney is a very useful asset on that front. And we saw all day yesterday the way in which she's become the center of the debate about Romney policies toward women, and particularly toward working women and working mothers. But Ann Romney is going to be seen a lot more, I think, in the general election than she was during the primary campaign, because she's very well liked, generally speaking, polls tell you, and because she addresses this issue. So no coincidence she was at his side today, obviously.